All right, welcome everybody. So let's do this. We're on page, let's see, what page are we on? We are on page 51, okay? So let's go to page 51 and we should see this table over here. And let's read the following table below. Let me fix the camera angle. The resolution is nice and solid. Mr. G has the Stabilo pens. Let's do this. So here it says, given below is a table for the values of three functions. We have f of x, g of x, and h of x. Find each of the following composite function values based on the table values. So here, this table is implying that, for example, if I have f of 0, here I just go to the f function, and I just go to the value of 0, and f of 0 is just -4. If I have g of 2, I just go to g of x, and then wherever at 2, g of 2 is 5. So we're just kind of following this table to kind of just evaluate these functions. So let's take a look at this one. We have -3, and notice that -3, what's the -3 doing? It's -3 times h of 0. So it's -3. Now what is h of 0? H of 0 is 2. So we just substituted 2 for that h of 0 times g of -3. Well, this is the g of x function. We go to -3, and it's -2 here, and that's all we need to do. Here it's just -3 times 2 is -6, times a -2, and that's just equal to 12. Happy face, all right? And that's what I want you to do for all these questions below, for A to L, right? What I'll do is I'll do a few of them with you, but for the most part, I want you to pause the video and try and do these by yourself, okay? If you want, I can go step by step for those of you who want to see it step by step, and I'll do that. So here, let's look at B. 2 times g of -1. So here, the 2 is, remember, the 2 is multiplying that g of -1, so it's 2 times, and what is g of -1? G of -1 is 7. So it's 2 times 7 over f of -2. Here we go to our f function, we go to -2, it's at 3, so this is 3 is on the bottom, so we just have 14 over 3, and can we simplify that any further? We cannot, so we just have 14 over 3, okay? Let's look at the next one. H of -2 plus 3 times g of -1. H of -2 is -1 plus 3 times g of -1. So remember, that 3 is multiplying to that g of -1, so it's 3 times g of -1 is 7. So we have -1 plus 3 times 7, so it's -1 plus 21, and that equals 20. All right, so far so good. Let's keep going. Letter D, h times f of 2. So here, notice that this is equal to h of 2 times f of 2. Right? So now what do we need to do? We need to find h of 2, and what's h of 2? It's 0 times f of, well, it won't even matter, it's just 0, right? But let's just see, what's f of 2? F of 2 is 3, so 0 times 3 is 0, and there we go. Let's look at the next one. H of f of 2. So what we need to do here is, notice that f of 2 is equal to what? Let's see, f of 2, and whenever we have this, we need to think of this idea of, I'll put it over here, inside to outside, right? We covered this last year in Algebra 2, but here, if I have, the way you read this is, I'll write it over here, it's going to be h of f of 2. That's how you read this function. It's h of f of 2. So here, what we need to do first is we need to evaluate f of 2. F of 2 is, according to the table, it's just 3. So notice that because f of 2 is 3, I could substitute this f of 2 inside over here. So this just becomes h, which stays right here, and it's just h of 3. Because that f of 2 was equal to 3. So we just substituted that f of 2 for 3. And now it becomes h of 3. But what's h of 3? Go back to our table and we go to h of 3, and it's -1. Right? Okay, let's keep going. This one, try and do this by yourself now that you did this one. How do you read this? You read this as g of f of negative 3, right? So what do we need to do first? We need to find f of negative 3. What's f of because remember that idea of inside to outside. The inside is that f of negative 3. So f of negative 3 is 0. And now we have g of 0 because we're substituting that f of negative 3 for 0. So now what's g of 0? G of 0 is negative 2. And there we go. Very nice. Like I said, very friendly lesson. All right, let's go to letter G. Camera angle is good. So here, g of negative 2. What's g of negative 2? It is 1. So now this becomes h of 1. But then that's equal to negative 3. H of 1, where is h of 1? H of 1 is negative 3. Okay, there we go. G of f of 3. So what's f of 3? F of 3 is 2. So now we have g of 2. And what's g of 2? G of 2 is 5. All right, we're on a roll. Let's do the next one. F of h of 1. What's h of 1? It's negative 3. So we have f of negative 3. And what is f of negative 3? F of negative 3 is 0. Okay. Very nice. Keep it going. Now let's look at this one. Here, let me fix the camera angle a little bit. All right, that's a little better. Okay. Now here we have h of g of f of 2. Right? So that's how you read it. H of g of f of 2. So what do we need to do here? We need to first find, remember, it's that same idea, inside to outside. What's our inside? It's that f of 2. So here, what's f of 2? It's just 3. So now we have h of g of 3, right? Because f of 2 is 3. But now what do we need to do? We need to find g of 3. What's g of 3? It's negative 3. So then this becomes h of negative 3. And now what's h of negative 3? H of negative 3 is 1/2. Okay? If I did that really fast, take your time and just go back. It's just that idea of inside to outside when we talk about compositions of functions. Okay? Let's look at letter K. Let me fix the resolution. Okay. Like for K and L, what I'm going to do is, you can do this by yourself. The answers are negative 2 and negative 3. But make sure you understand why these are the two solutions, all right? Let's look at these two. So for m and n, it's saying that if k of x is equal to 2x plus 10, right? So we know k of x, right, is equal to 2x plus 10. What is the values of x where k of x is equal to f of g of h of negative 1? So here, the way we solve this, let's just write it out, right? Here, what is our k of x function? It's 2x plus 10. But now, what you need to do is you need to solve f of g of h of negative 1. So let's see, what is f of g of h of negative 1? Well, what's h of negative 1? Let's go back to this. All right, let's fix this. What's h of negative 1? It's 1. So then now we have f of g of 1. Right? Because that h of negative 1 is 1. So now we just substitute that 1, and now we're going to put that 1 into the g function. So what's g of 1? G of 1 is 0. So now we have 2x plus 10 is equal to f of 0. Because g of 1 is 0. Now we need to find f of 0. And what's f of 0? It's negative 4. So we have 2x plus 10 is equal to negative 4. And now if I just give you this equation, what's 2x plus 10? Let's zoom in. If I have 2x plus 10 is equal to negative 4, how do I solve for x? We're in calculus right now. We should be able to do this. So x is equal to negative 7. Okay? All right. The same idea goes for this problem, and it gets a little tricky because there's an absolute value function here. So here, notice that it says p of x is 2x minus 3. So we have p of x, right? And it says, it's saying for what values of x is p of x equal to f of g of negative 2. So p of x is equal to f of g of negative 2. Now, what's p of x? It's the absolute value of 2x minus 3 is equal to, now we just need to do the same idea, inside to outside. So what's g of negative 2? G of negative 2 is 1. So now we have f of 1. Okay? And remember, we're looking at the table. That's how I knew that g of negative 2 is 1. Right? Now, what's f of 1? Well, this absolute value of 2x minus 3 is still the same. What's f of 1? It's 4. Right? And remember, when we have an absolute value function, when the absolute value is isolated by itself, we can say that 2x minus 3 equals 4, or 2x minus 3 is equal to negative 4. So then x is equal to negative 1/2, and x is equal to negative 7 over 2. And those are your two solutions. Okay, so that wasn't too bad for page 51. What I'll do is I'll pause the video, and we'll go to the next page. We'll go to page 52. All right, I'll see you.